Atlas number 4 ties up it's the last issue of the first story arc. And, I don't know, it was pretty good. It ties everything up. There's a lot of stuff in the flashback stuff that they were getting into. There's more of that than the current stuff. You find out that the Agents of Atlas, while they were in Russia, actually saved. The Russians actually had Bucky and Captain America.
Right.
Had captured them in, Agents of Atlas. So they were like, hey, we got to save these guys. We're Americans. The Ruskies shouldn't have them.
Right.
So anyway, it flip-flops back and forth between the current timeline and the old timeline, and just a lot of stuff going on. They don't know that they find out that it's Bucky who's Captain America now.
Right.
Jeff Parker, he's doing more stuff with the characters, letting you in on a little bit more of how these characters actually see themselves and how they are portrayed. Stuff like that. A lot of more character. I mean, it's the 4th issue, and there's still constant character development going, which is good. No Namor this issue. But, it was the only drawback. But, next issue, fucking New Avengers is going to show up. And again, you know why I'm not grimacing at this point and why I'm like, oh, the fucking New Avengers? Because Jeff Parker is going to write the fucking New Avengers in Agents of Atlas, and it is going to be fucking awesome. He's going to pwn Bendis' fucking ass when it comes to his own team. So I cannot wait for that. Superman New World of Krypton number 3. I am liking this book more and more now, every issue. And it finally dawned on me kind of what is going on in this book. Mm-hmm. Especially now after the 3rd issue. It's Greg Rucka and James Robinson co-writing. Mm-hmm. I might be reading too much into it, but I think that this book is becoming a social commentary on the change of the political arena in our country.
Okay.
Whereas General Zod is all about violence and stopping stuff and crushing people with brute force.
Right.
Superman's coming in and totally turning it around and being like, no, we need to use diplomacy. And they use the word diplomacy in here.
Okay.
So, take that for what it's worth. But I think that's kind of maybe what's going on. A bit of such a commentary on
Superman's Obama.
On the old regime in this country, the real life regime that was in this country running the shit, and the new regime. So I don't know. I took me 3 issues to get that, but I think that's kind of what they're doing. And so when we last left Superman, the Labor Guild, which were the glorified slaves, took Lara hostage because they didn't want to be slaves pretty much anymore. Mm-hmm. They had demands to be met. Interesting thing in this issue, though, was General Zod not really the prick that we were led to believe. Mm-hmm. He tells Superman, or Superman asks him, like, give me a half hour, let me do what I'm going to do, and then if I can't get it done in a half hour, do what you need to do. And so Zod's like, okay, fine, you do what you have to do. And there's what the fuck is this guy's name? Commander Gore, who is kind of turning out to be the new villain, not Zod.
Right.
Setting up this Gore who's like one of Zod's like dudes that is in command right underneath him.
He's a zealot is what he is.
Yeah. And I like the fact that his name is Gore, because I wonder if that's just, again, G-O-P.
Won't read that much into it. Besides,
it's one letter off.
I know, yeah.
But
okay.
I'm just saying. That's something that I noticed.
I'm not saying that the GOP is like evil Kryptonians.
So anyway,
as powerful as they were in their day, they were never that bad.
Turns out Superman, diplomacy works. He gets him out. He gets Alara out. The guy who was in charge of the Slave Guild uprising gets brought out. In secret, Commander Gore, is gonna kill him fucking anyway.
Right.
He's gonna kill the labor union guy. But there's actually something really heroic in here, which is pretty awesome. Supergirl gets in there, stops the bullet, saves the day. And Supergirl goes, "How was I?" And Superman goes, "Faster than the speeding bullet." Aww, isn't that cute? So, and then Zod finds out that Gore pulled this shit, and he's like, "Yeah, right, dude, you're fucked. Like, I've had it up to here with you."
Right.
And so, so things progress, and it's more Superman training the new cadets underneath him. They're trying to get trying to build a new committee, I guess, to the new government committee.
Right.
And one of the demands,
Science Council, isn't it the Science
well,
Council?
like the Science Council, the Labor Guild, and then
Right.
the Art. So,
Okay.
but the Labor Guild wants to have a seat on that council now,
Right. Okay.
which they've never had before.
Okay.
So that's one of the things that the military guild is not really too happy
No,
about. So then it ends, and there's a big fight at the end where Gore comes down to Superman, and he's like, "We're gonna duel now." He pretty much takes the glove out and slaps him in the face, and they're like, and then Zod's like, "You guys got to duel." So they fight again, and Superman is taking a beating from this guy, and this guy's like, Superman, I beat you," and he's like, "I just saw everything that
you got.
that you got. That's
right.
it. You have no idea what I got." And then he has this line about how he was taught by Batman to fight, and the fucker takes down, Superman takes down the fucker with stuff that he learned from Batman.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then, lo and behold, guess who finally shows up to bring some law and order into this and seeing where this whole thing's going? The Green Lanterns. So that's how that issue ends.
Well, there's been a question, like, have the Kryptonians and the Green Lanterns ever had it out? So, I mean, will this be a case
we are going to find out. The next cover of the issue is Superman fighting Green Lantern. Whether that happens or not, we'll see. I'm sure there will be some kind of misunderstanding, and fists will be thrown. But I'm going to, back to the original Green Lantern Superman review that we did when everyone was like, blah, 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 getting out. I actually like this book. I like where this is going. Again, I'm going to reiterate exactly what I said last time, was that it's taking Superman in a new direction and putting him in new surroundings, and it's working.
Right.
And it's Superman being Superman and teaching these people what it's like to be him.
Right.
And I like it. I really do.
Right. Because there's a lot there's a lot with Superman that you really can't do without changing him. They're able to put him in new situations without changing the character.
Exactly. And I like it. I like it a lot. And they've done a good job of showing the readers exactly what Superman's about, because you're learning what Superman's about through him teaching the new cadets what he's about. Right. So yeah. So there you go.
All right. So there we go. We end on a positive note with a DC book. Hope we make you happy.
And really quick, I'm not going to review these, but other books that came out this week that are worth mentioning, which were awesome, was Destroyer #2. Of course,
Invincible Iron Man.
Marvel Zombies #2, or Marvel Zombies 4 #2, which I actually like better than the first issue, if that was possible. Really good. Exiles #2 is still kind of kicking ass. Another Jeff Parker book. I will do a full review of Irredeemable when the third issue comes out, or when they reprint the first issue, because even though I work at a comic shop, I was totally oblivious when Irredeemable #1 came out, and we sold out of the first issue. By the time I'm like, oh shit, that came out, and by the time I got here, we already sold out that day. So I read the second issue, and I liked it, but I want to read the first one before I give it a full review. And we finally find out what happened to Dawn, and everything gets fixed with Dawn in this issue of Buffy. So that whole storyline comes to its conclusion. And it was written by Doug Petrie.
Doug Petrie, a Buffy writer.
Buffy and an Angel alum.
And one of the first TV writers outside of Joss to start writing the Buffy books. Even wrote some Star Wars too.
So yeah. So those are all the stuff that I actually read this week. It was a big week for stuff that I read, and most of it was good. So there's all your fucking reviews for you. That was like a ton.
I'm worn out.
Tons and tons.
I'm worn out.
I'm not.
Just watching. Oh, really?
No.
All right. Well, then I think you'll be ready for Last Rants. Hope we see you then.